Bro, what in the WWE is going on right now? Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett for the interim title. Alex Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez 2. The rankings are officially meaningless. The UFC basically said, yeah, Armin, we see your insane performance, but nah, we're good. And I get it, dude. Topuria can't defend it right now because he's dealing with injuries or whatever, but holy shit, bro. They're making it very obvious they don't want Lerone Murphy or Movsar Evloev anywhere near a title shot. Instead, they rather throw Diego Lopez right back into the mix so they can tap into the Mexican market. And look, man, I'm not hating, but damn, man, come on. My head is hurting. I'm mad. I'm pissed. But at the same time, I'm entertained. This is the problem. The UFC's got me, bro. They got me, man. I love this shit. I'm addicted. Even when it pisses me off, I'm still like, let's go. But also like, fuck, man. I don't want this. The integrity of the sport has been cooked for a long time. This isn't even new. The UFC just wants the bigger fights for the promotion reasons. And honestly, these are the bigger fights. Let's just say it how it is. So I don't even know, bro. I'm conflicted. I'm pissed off. But I'm also locked in. And here's the thing, man. The UFC thinks they're playing 4D chess. They're basically banking on Paddy to pull off the win so they can set up Paddy versus Topuria at the White House. Yeah, you heard me. These guys are wild. They know exactly what they're doing. It's a super fight. You know, the beef is real, and it's going to be massive if it happens. Meanwhile, you got poor little Armin on the sideline like, yo, what about me? And I do feel for the guy. He's done everything right, except hurt his back, and ruining an entire main event. But his last performance was nice. And now he's watching from the circus, from the outside. And it's tough, man. It's tough. But that's just how the UFC rolls. They're going for big spectacles, you know. And honestly, it's frustrating, but also I can't lie. I'm still going to watch the hell out of it. It's that weird love-hate relationship with the sport, you know. And look, I really don't like this matchup, you know. Justin versus Paddy. And here's why. Simple. First off, Justin's whole run has been weird. Like recently, you know, let's just say how it is. He fought Max Holloway first, said he took the fight as a favorite to the UFC and got flatline knocked out cold. They tried to get him back on track with Dan Hooker. Cool. But Hooker pulled out. Fiziev stepped in short notice. And at that time, and Fiziev hasn't won a fight since 2022. Justin beats him. It's a good win, whatever. But here's where it gets wild. After beating a short notice Fiziev, Justin suddenly acts he's owed a title shot because the UFC promised him once. And then he goes even further and he basically tells the UFC, give me a title shot or I'm retiring. And the UFC actually listened. What the hell, man? Bro, what are we doing? None of this adds up. It feels like the UFC bent over backwards for him. And that's why I'm not loving this matchup at all. And bro, let's keep it real about Paddy too. Let's keep that same energy, you know what I'm saying? He's been on a straight Mickey Mouse streak. He beat Bobby Green, and I'm sorry, but beating Bobby doesn't mean much at lightweight anymore. He's basically the Neil Magny of 155. Everybody beats him at this point. Hell, I'm 140 pounds, and even I might have a chance to beat his ass. But that's besides the point. Then Paddy beats Tony Ferguson, who, let's just say how it is, bro. He's a walking corpse at this point. Bro, come on, man. That win means nothing. And then Chandler, bro. Chandler's so far out of his prime, it's sad. The dude has lost 4 out of his last 5 fights. Paddy beating him isn't exactly some career-defining accomplishment. And now, these two guys, Justin and Paddy, are fighting for the interim belt. Make it make sense. It's fun, don't get me wrong. It's going to be entertaining. But logically, it's insane. If anything, Max Holloway versus Armin Tsarukyan makes way more sense for an interim belt. Those two are the top 2 killers in the division right now. You could have booked that and nobody would have complained. But no. We got to do this WWE thing instead. With all that being said, man, I would have to admit this whole Paddy versus Justin Gaethje matchup, I'm a little bit interested, you know. I'm not going to lie. Stylistically, it's more interesting than people want to admit. I'm not saying it's a masterpiece matchup, but stylistically, it's juicy. And honestly, I'm leaning towards Paddy winning this, not because he's a leader or anything, but because this is the perfect timing to fight a guy like Gaethje. Paddy has actually improved. You can see it in his last few fights. Yeah. These opponents were coming off losses or were patches in their careers, whatever. But Paddy is looking better. The leg kicks were cleaner. His distance management wasn't like as chaotic as before. And the grappling has always been his best tool. That combination is tailor-made, in my opinion, for a 37-year-old Justin Gaethje who's already 1 foot out the door. And the other thing, Gaethje literally said he'd retire if he didn't get a title shot. He's been talking retirement in every other interview. Once a fighter starts saying out loud, they're halfway checked out, okay? That doesn't mean Justin can't win. The guy still hits like a truck, and he's always dangerous. But mentally, I think that matters a lot. When you're thinking about, okay, this is my last run, instead of, I'm still hungry, it's different. It's a different version of you stepping into that cage. And in a close fight, that mindset shifts is enough to change everything, in my opinion. We also got to be honest, bro. Gaethje's track record against grapplers is not the greatest, okay? Don't bring up Michael Chandler, okay? Michael Chandler's dumb. He can't control anybody except Dustin Poirier that one time, but he's dumb as hell. He's not a normal grappler. Against a real composed grappler, Justin panics, okay? That's always been his memo. His submission defense is literally almost non-existent. He gives up his back, he freezes, he taps quick. You saw it when he fought Khabib, sure, but even when he fought Charles Oliveira, the same exact pattern once it hit the ground. Justin turns, exposes his back, gets choked out. It's like a muscle memory at this point for him. And that's where I think Paddy actually becomes dangerous. All Paddy needs to do is just take one takedown, just one. People love to hype up Justin Sprawl like he's Kamaru Usman stuffing all his shots with, at the time when he had his 100% takedown defense. But once you actually get Gaethje on the mat, that fight changes instantly. If one guy takes you down, another can, that rule applies here straight up. And I think Paddy's going to do that. Paddy's grappling may not be like the best in this division, but it's absolutely good enough to finish a guy who panics the way that Justin does when it hits the floor. So realistically, if Paddy gets him down even once, you might as well just ring the bell. Call Bruce Buffer early, raise the hand, wrap the imaginary belt around him. Because Justin's defense on the ground isn't improving at 37, okay? I'm sorry, it's not. And Paddy's biggest strength is the exact thing that Gaethje has never figured out. Staying calm, defending properly, and not giving up his back like a PlayStation character controlled by a kid who doesn't know what he's doing, okay? But I will say this, bro. If Justin Gaethje can stay composed in that first round and not freak the fuck out the moment that Paddy level changes, he absolutely has a real path to winning. People act like Justin just magically forgot how to strike the moment a grappler shows up, but that's not true. If he can calm down, trust his footwork, and not panic over feints, he can land his shots, especially those leg kicks, bro. Because, let's just say how it is. Gaethje has some of the ugliest counter-striking in MMA, but the crazy part, it works. It's sloppy, it's wild, it's ugly, but it's effective as hell, and it cracks elite fighters for some reason. This is exactly why this fight becomes so interesting. We're going to find out how good Paddy striking really is, because Gaethje may look unorthodox, but he lives in that top 5 to top 7 of the division for years. For years. You don't just sit up there by accident. And no matter how much people try to clown him, Gaethje has land on high-level strikers here and there. He chopped up Fiziev, a guy people called the cleanest striker in the division at the time. He flatlined Dustin Poirier with one shot. So yeah, Paddy's going to get touched at some point. It would honestly be surprising if he didn't. And the leg kicks, bro, those are going to be a major factor in my opinion. Paddy stands heavy at times, and Gaethje's leg kicks, oh my god, they're just on point. They generally hurt people. If Justin can read early and start chopping the calves or thighs, Paddy's mobility is going to get tested quickly. The distance management he showed in his last fight won't matter if he can't put weight on his lead leg, and we can't pretend that Paddy is some defensive wizard either. 2 fights ago, Tony Ferguson, the guy who's so out of his prime, was still landing clean shots on him here and there. Now, don't get me wrong, Paddy dominated, but if Tony can find those moments, you better believe Gaethje can too. So yeah, in the stand-up, I can absolutely see Justin landing here and there. Clean jabs, those weird looping counters, the low kicks, all of that is on the table. And that's why Paddy's defense is going to get exposed one way or another. Either he levels up and shows real improvement, or Gaethje forces him into those panic exchanges where Paddy starts swinging wildly, and that's not a war he wants to be in, let me tell you that. But at the end of the day, even with all that being said, I'm still leaning Paddy because of the grappling. The grappling, brother. Just one takedown changes everything, like I mentioned. Justin looks great early. He could land something. He could chop the legs. But once Paddy times one good entry, drags him down, and forces him into some bad habit, that's where the fight shifts. Gaethje has never solved that ground problem. And I don't think he suddenly figures it out at the age of 37, okay? With retirement in the back of his mind. But yeah, bro, at the end of the day, I still think Paddy's going to win. And honestly, I can already see the UFC cooking up to Poirier versus Paddy at the White House. And as much as I want to roast him for it, it's low-key smart business. Let's just say how it is. You can't even be that mad. This is the UFC we're talking about. This isn't a real sport in the traditional sense. It's a business pretending to be a sport. They're going to make the fight that prints money. Even if the rankings or logic gets thrown straight out the window. It is what it is. And it's crazy because you can already feel where 2026 is heading. These are These guys are chasing headlines, chasing huge pay-per-view moments, and chasing whatever gets the most eyes. Hell, at this rate, Usman might actually get a title shot against Islam. Like, we're in that era. I just think the Paramount deal being on the horizon is just making the UFC lean even harder into these big name matchups. Legacy fights, spectacle fights, you know. We're not going to follow the merits of it, you know. It's always kind of been like that, but it's more obvious now than ever. Now you can tell the matchmaking is kind of shifting. It used to be make the biggest fight possible, and now it's make the biggest fights possible even if they make 0 sense whatsoever. And yeah, part of me wants to complain about it. Part of me wants to get mad. Part of me wants to yell about the rankings or the unfairness. But let's be honest, bro. We've been heading in this direction for years. Nothing about this is new. It's just more in your face now. And look, I'm still going to watch. I'm still going to cover it. I'm still addicted to the sport or the business, whatever you want to call it. I can't stop watching, even when I'm annoyed, okay? It's in my bloodstream at this point. I'm fucked. You can get frustrated. You can get mad. But at the end of the day, the UFC knows we're all going to tune in regardless. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And like always, guys, I'll see you on my next one.